Kundalini is the primordial subelectrical potential of mitosis. Mitosis is a process of cell duplication or reproduction, during which one cell gives rise to two genetically identical daughter cells. Strictly applied, the term mitosis is used to describe the duplication and distribution of chromosomes, the structures that carry the genetic information. Mitosis may take minutes or hours depending upon the kind of cells and species of organisms. It is influenced by time of day, temperature, and chemicals. It is the solar energy of Kundalini that causes mitotic polarization of primordial cell division and replication, which is the very basis of all biological life and the duplication of information. When the subelectrical potential of Kundalini stimulates mitosis as a supercharged celestial emission, the genetic information of primordial cell division is upscaled. RNA is affected by the firing of nitrogen as the phosphodiester bonds of DNA are electrified, reorganizing the genetic base sequences of nucleotides into light synthesizing assimilators. The flesh becomes electrified, and the trigonal rhombohedral calcium carbonate crystals of the pineal gland become supercharged. The supercharged piezoelectric emission from the pineal gland is then dispersed throughout the nervous system, and the mitochondrial response is the emission of biophoton, anchoring a higher homeostasis, which innervates the light body, and the entire anatomy becomes a crystalline structure, a piezoelectric powerhouse capable of conducting cosmic energy at a supernal level. The Kundalini purges the system at an intensified level, from the subatomic and genetic to the psycho-spiritual and galactic. It tethers the multidimensional substratum and induces tensile reverberation. Albeit, as it accretes in intensity, it becomes ever more subtle. During this process, the Anointed One's true nature becomes revealed, and the fallen state exposed. This fallen being is then made conscious and given the opportunity to ascend back into the heavens. Kundalini represents the latent cosmic willpower and its many multidimensional functions. The evolution of the species relies on consciousness, and the quota of consciousness determines the degree of willpower that is able to be exerted over the lower domains, unconscious energies, and principal laws. When a certain quota of consciousness is achieved, all the impulses of nature fall under the conscious faculties. Nature itself is the collective unconscious. When energy and impulse is directed by conscious awareness, the electrical and sexual charges can be directed to the brain. This induces neurogenesis and activates deeper recesses of the brain. This is conscious evolution. The very term delineates that consciousness drives the evolution. When Kundalini is awakened, it must be throttled and fall under the direction of the conscious will. Many belief structures believe that Kundalini should be allowed to complete this process naturally through the system. But as this happens, the conscious mind is being dissolved by the unconscious mind, and the life unit is being recycled. When great levels of vibration are reached, greater oscillations are anchored, and frequency is quickened. Consciousness must hold itself centered and grounded, not allowing itself to be redefined and refined into dissolution. The universe is parasitic. It is a force of great resistance that, when surrendered to, dissolves consciousness into elemental fundaments to continue its force of parasitical resistance. Unconscious impulses come from nature, the universal matrix. So as Kundalini is left to complete its cycle through you, so you are digested by the serpent. This force of resistance can be utilized toward conscious evolutionary spiritual expansion by the evolving consciousness if it is understood. Kundalini can be utilized as a force to overthrow the demiurgic cannibalistic universal intelligence matrix if the conscious mind is aware enough and exercises its love-will complex to the highest degree. As long as you are enveloped by the impulses of nature and swayed by the energetic and principal laws of the unconscious, you yourself are unconscious. The imagination has a mind of its own until a spark of consciousness becomes aware of it. Emotions and thoughts, these things are unconscious impulses and are detrimental to the flame of embodied consciousness. They can be overthrown by will, and from here, thought forms can be created consciously and intentionally, and you can generate your own wave. Intense bliss can be the driving factor behind expansion and ascension. But if you are to fall unconscious and into the sensualism of the bliss state, it will refine you back into the elements of the unconscious. The idea is to maintain consciousness through steadfast integrity and devotion. Anchoring a centralized axis of awareness is paramount. The final stages of the ascent is the removal of the chakra column and the transcendental conscious control of impulse toward the pure light universe. This is only possible when consciousness is able to overstand and overwrite the fight or flight response of the reptilian brainstem. When this occurs, energy and the Kundalini serpent can be directed consciously upward. This is ascension, wherein sexual energy is transmuted into spiritual energy and a solar body is born.